Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
I did see a Jen and the birds first in the house. That's great. Good to see you guys. Hello, mods. Everybody's so wonderful. Thank you for showing up.
Yeah, thank you guys for showing up.
Oh, shoot.
There we go.
Oh, shoot.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Monitoring multiple computers, guys.
Yes.
Yes. So today's been a busy day already. It's been very, very crazy. Lots of stuff going on, and
Jeez.
Cindy is just
Sorry, guys. I'm batting 1,000 here.
echoing.
Yeah, I'm batting 1,000. Sorry. Okay. Hi. Yeah, it's a busy day. It's really, really chaotic. And I tell you what, even the last week or so, maybe more, has been pretty intense. And then we see everything that's going on today. I'm like, wow, because I am feeling more grounded today. But I wonder if that was like some type of energy workup to this, because we are very sensitive. We are tied to the cycles of the earth, and whether it is natural or man-made, that part does not matter. It's just the energy. There's an energy buildup, and we all just, here we are. We'll get grounded together.
Yeah, please remember to subscribe. We appreciate all the thumbs up if you do find what we do helpful. Hopefully, you guys do.
I'm gonna say hi
Um,
to more people. We got a bunch.
yeah, we got a bunch of people here.
Oh, goodness. I like saying hi to everybody. It just is nice. So, hello there, Ron Simpson. Good to see you. Miss Gydra Deanna. Good to see you. Dan Fulgrim. Hello. I'm so glad you made it. Let's see. Oh my gosh. True Gemma. Watch out for her. True Gemma's in the house. She's a sassy one. Jason of Oz, good to see you. I thought I saw let's see, who else? Truth, yes, other Diana, Truth Diana. I saw you. Miss Regina. Hello. I'm so glad you're here. And you guys are just all amazing, and keep up the good work. Keep the high vibes up, because we really need it right now. A lot of people are struggling with the fires and the floods, and now the earthquake. It's hard. So the best thing we can do for everyone is stay grounded, stay focused on the mission, and just, help. Just this is how we help.
Yeah, absolutely. So we did a video earlier today, again, talking about just the craziness from the Texas floods to the wildfires, the breathing problems a lot of people are having. It's all over. It's really crazy out there. And then on top of that, now, we have so much going on with the earthquake, and we're going to take a look at that. It's just, wow, it's enough to make your head spin. So if you missed it, evolutionaryenergyarts.com has been updated. When you go and you see services, that tells you about what we do when we're not doing videos or homesteading. Market, well, that's going to take you over to our merchandise, which only took us 9 years to get together. Thanks really to the help of our elf. Yes, our
Yeah,
elf. We wouldn't have gotten it together
no,
yet.
we would not have. It's
Um,
just been amazing.
yeah, she's been wonderful. And so, we could add more. I know people were
We
asking
will
for
add more.
coffee mugs.
Yep.
Yeah, coffee mug would be a must. This is actually a puzzle, which is taken from a photograph of one of our own tapestries that's up in our bedroom. But we have hats, we have pretty much everything: buttons, bags, beanies, tank tops. I live in tank tops, even in the winter. But, again, guys, it does support us. It supports the channel. It does support our elf as well. And we just want to give thanks. And it's a wonderful thing to have the expansion, and a long time coming. Also, when you check out Evolutionary Energy Arts, you can read more about us and what we do and who we are. Again, we view ourselves as healers and teachers and guides ourselves.
You know, uh, uh, Multidimensional modalities, like it says. We work with all dimensions, and really our job is to help you find you. If you have any questions, it doesn't really matter what your background is. We work with anyone and everyone wherever you're at, and we really enjoy it. We truly enjoy helping people as much as possible.
Yeah, before we go look at the quake, I wanted to start here because, for many reasons, like I shared in the earlier video today, I've been getting these visions going back to the time when I was around 16, 17. Literally, they've hit me at different times. It's been very, very clear, very vivid when they come, and they seem to build on each other. But they seem to be focusing at a key point in my this current incarnation, and a key purpose in my life, which again, Cindy has joined me in this endeavor, and that's waking people up and trying to help guide people through the bumpiest time that humanity might experience in thousands of years, literally thousands of years. Turning of a yuga. This is a massive sinkhole, and this is, as you see here, Sunset and Holloway, West Hollywood. That could happen. They could happen anywhere. It was just a water main break. But what made the water main break? And, again, what else is going on? There's a lot going on. There's, again, energy from the sun, from the stars. There's energy from the central star as well. We're going through the cycle of the yugas, and we're on the ascending path. That's the best news that we have, is that we're on the ascending path. So ultimately, things are going to get better. But what you have is this dark matrix control system that's been in place, keeping humans in the dark for thousands of years. Humans are not like a lot of most species out there. We don't know. We've been given a history that's completely a story, and we've been kept in the dark even about things like who we are. But what's going on right now is the apocalypse, the unveiling. It's when we realize the Truman Show that we're in, so to speak. And what does this look like? It looks like utter chaos. It looks like the end of the world as you knew it. Yes, absolutely. But at the same time, we do feel fine because we know we're heading in the right direction. Here you go. You got rushing waters. It's pretty massive flooding going on here. Is this showing us that there's some movement afoot in LA? And will this affect all of California, perhaps? It's more than all of California. Everywhere, wherever you're listening from, will be affected in this time period to some degree. So again, there's no perfect place. A lot of you are situated in spots that your higher self, that's again, the you that exists with full knowledge of what you're doing before you jump into a body and take a body, because a body is just temporary. It's a vehicle for experiencing this density. We are eternal spirits by nature. That's just what we are. We have all the time in the world. Ultimately, even though the time might be running out for many people in this incarnation, again, we will continue to go on. The world will go on, but it is perhaps the end of the world as we knew it, in a sense that we are waking up to the control system that many people didn't have a clue actually was in place. This is, again, West Hollywood, and this is, again, California. You can see people rushing about. Oh, man, it's just crazy. But you could laugh and you could giggle because, it is not a major earthquake at this time, even though what caused the water main break? Yeah, and when is the big one coming? That's the other question. When is the big one coming? Well, this article just came out 5 hours ago. The San Andreas fault has gone ominously silent. Scientists fear when it finally snaps. And that might be maybe this summer, maybe in the next 6 to 8 weeks, or, it could still be a year or two away. I don't think it's going to be too much more than that, though, honestly. I think we're getting very close.
I don't know, if it were me, I would have my little bag. And it's definitely concerning, but I don't think anywhere is safe. It's going to hit where it's going to hit. So we all need to be ready wherever we're at. I don't think there's necessarily any running away from anything either. The changes that are happening, they're happening within us, and they're happening on our planet. So what do? You just kind of do your best, and you get grounded, you stay grounded, you talk with friends, you live your life, You do not live your life in fear. And you just live one day at a time. You work through things. We're here in the 3D. We came for an experience and may as well enjoy it. I don't hope folks don't just, I really would hate to see people just kind of always be worried. It's good to know what's going on. We all need to know what's going on, but how is that delivered is very important. We try to deliver the information in a nice, warm, fluffy, yummy taco. So it's just not difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And Robbie, he got the first red evolutionary energy arts tank top. So congrats on that, Robbie. Navajo Nation in the house. Yeah, guys, it's pretty crazy. Again, San Andreas, the mother of all earthquake faults. Some people have described it. Again, Cascadia has produced somewhere between the 9.0 and 9.5 back in 1700. So, again, 326 years ago, man, whoever was alive at that time experiencing that, they probably thought that was the mother of all earthquakes. Literally, villages were completely washed away. And it's not just the San Andreas. You have the Garlock fault intersects it. There's quite a few faults, and we'll take a peek at what's going on. But suffice it to say, they put this out like 5 hours ago from MSN, obviously, Microsoft Network, MSN. Yeah, there's those that know the script. It doesn't mean that's going to happen today or tomorrow, but I do feel that it's sooner than later. And I think we will have some sort of really large event probably by the end of this month, but certainly by the end of August. And, it might be something totally out of the blue. I mean, it could be something crazy like a 9.0 in Jerusalem or Damascus or something. There'll be something that's very, very large. The energy's building. People can feel this. The energy is building. And so this 7.4, 7.3 in Mexico.
To monitor the situation and urge citizens to remain cautious in case of aftershocks. A strong earthquake hits Mexico. It caused buildings to shake violently, giving residents the illusion that they were about to collapse. A powerful earthquake struck wide areas of Mexico today, leaving citizens, especially in major cities, in a state of panic. According to seismic authorities, the earthquake measured over 6.0 on the Richter scale, with its epicenter in the southern part of the country near the Pacific coast. However, its effects were felt by residents in the capital, Mexico City, and surrounding areas. The strong tremors triggered early warning systems, forcing people to evacuate buildings and move into the streets for fear of collapses. Some official activities were temporarily halted, while emergency teams began assessing the damage. Despite the earthquake's intensity, no widespread catastrophic damage was reported in the first few hours. Authorities continue to monitor the situation and urge citizens to remain cautious in case
of aftershocks, which there has been actually quite a few aftershocks. The other thing too, people are really noticing the weird weather and the weather that comes out of nowhere. This is my old area, Bradenton, Sarasota, and here Sue Pear is just saying, why is the system just exploding out of nowhere? Especially when you see frequencies right before it explodes out of nowhere. Oh, wait till you hear the words of BB. Yes, that guy over in that country that begins with an I, talking about, decisions that another country, Spain, has made. Here you go. Again, people were rushing out. I mean, just it wasn't that long ago we had Venezuela, right? In the same exact magnitude, 7.2 and 7.5, I think, right? In Venezuela, this is right in between, 7.4. So you have people rushing out and, clearing their way from buildings because we saw buildings come down in Venezuela. Now, it all depends on the structures and, again, the type of earthquake that hits. Some places are much better prepared than others. Japan is one of the most seismically prone places in the entire world, has some of the best structures. However, there are those people out there that have seen coming quake in Japan that will be terrifying. And this is a terrifying video capturing the building swaying violently as the 7.4 hits. Man, when you see Venezuela, that stays in your mind. And they're still obviously going through the rubble.
Isn't that sad? That's terrible how those buildings, some of the aerials that they did and just showing some buildings that were standing and then other buildings that were pancaked. I mean, though, to me, it was devastating because I can just see people in there, watching TV, playing, just having a normal day, reading a book, just doing their day-to-day things, and then they're not, and I think of all kind of stuff and I don't like it. So I usually go find something else to do and distract myself. If you are going through traumas, distraction is really good. I mean, as long as it's a positive distraction. Your animals are always very, very helpful. And then just doing something good for yourself, cleaning your house. Sometimes you just got to get your mind off stuff. And there's always a time and a place to deal with things. It's been a lot lately. It's been a lot, and people are going through some pretty heavy stuff. And really, ultimately, all you can truly do for anyone else is take care of yourself so that you are strong in case someone else really needs you. You need to be mentally strong, physically strong, and that way you can truly be of help.
Yeah, Martine was sharing a lot of things, 400 pounds of freeze-dried rice and 10 cases of MREs, potable water, foods that could last for 50 years, as well as also like writing things down. Because, again, that's a good idea. A lot of us have notes on our phone. And then what happens if the phone doesn't work? What if we get an EMP? We are in a war. An EMP could wipe that all out. Maybe vehicles won't be turning over. There's just so much to be aware of in this time. And, Emma, we think about people with little babies like you, think of everything that you're going to need for the little ones. And then how about the elderly too, that are going to potentially need help and guidance? Again, as much as we could do to make ourselves as self-sufficient as possible should be the goal for all of us. And whatever that looks like, again, our brother David Lewis over in the UK, he lives in a flat and he grows a ton of food. He also ended up going in on a co-op where, they could potentially supply food, and he is for many people. I think what's going to happen is, this system needs to change. So it's going to change one way or another. It could be an easy, gradual change, or it could be shocking and traumatic. It's really, again, so much of it depends on how we handle things.
Yeah, I'm sure, this is just in California. Boy, that's got to be really scary because it's so populated. I wonder what people are thinking. And then this was such a huge quake over there near Guatemala, in Guatemala. Imagine what people are thinking. So we are seeing these energies of human beings that are probably really just stuck in the root chakra, as they should be, because now they're in a survival situation. But what do you think that kind of energy does, going out there into the world? I mean, it's definitely something to think about and kind of wonder, well, what is this going to create some domino effect? Because I know our energy matters. It counts. And that's why, I like the shows like this, because it really feels like we can offset some things to a degree. Of course, not everything, but some. We're helping some. We're just doing our best. We're doing our part. And you guys are too.
Yeah, here you go. Right now at the moment, we have a dozen, we have 13. So we have a dozen aftershocks after that 7.3 that transpired. We have a 6.0, a 5.3, 5.2, 5.1s. They're still pretty substantial. And let's see if we look at them from newest first. Yeah, I guess you could say they're they're kind of jumping a little bit all over, not really tapering off so much. Because there is always the chance this could be the precursor to something bigger. And when you look at it, where is this? Well, Venezuela, if we look at, let's go and just take a peek and switch this to 30 days significant. So we can see, right? Here's the big ones, plural, in Venezuela. And you can see it's not that far away. The energy is just transferred. These are plate boundaries, these red lines. So you can see, the energy has transferred over this way. Does that mean it's going to continue to go on up? There's a chance. Yeah, absolutely. It could move on up into the San Andreas area or up into Cascadia. If we look at 30 days significant, these are the biggest. Again, the Venezuela quakes and, the current one, which is off the coast of Mexico / Guatemala. So, it's definitely something to keep your eye on. The other thing we mentioned earlier today was another 3.9 explosion, experimental explosion, which really makes my skin crawl off the coast of Florida. Because, we did, again, go into more detail on the first video today, talking about how the Navy has done these experimental explosions from time to time in this particular area. They always end up being 3.9 magnitude quakes, too. Isn't that curious? We've also obviously got the war going on. We have telegraphed the idea of tsunami bombs. Russia media has literally talked about flooding out the UK with tsunami bombs. It's been talked of. I've done so many videos talking about that potential. And we're just in a time when all the bleep is about to hit the fan.
It looks like it is. It's like we're kind of in, we're in the middle of it, or watching it tip. And I did see someone asking about the 7-second gravity thing about NASA, and is it a hoax? Never a straight answer. That's all I got to say. Never a straight answer. But I will tell you one thing I think they do not want anyone looking at the eclipse. They don't want anyone watching the eclipse. So I'm going to make sure I have, whatever eye gear I need, and I'm going to be watching the eclipse.
By the way, there's a swarm over here. There's 9 quakes in the southern mid-Atlantic, which is a little bit unusual, and this could also have something to do with, again, the energy from the Venezuela quakes. And because if you put them together, it's almost like a straight line going through. So, yeah, curious. There's a lot of things that are very, very curious ongoing. As far as what we have right now in California, otherwise it looks kind of normal and typical. So, we're going to definitely keep our eyes open on all this. 7.4 is nothing to sneeze at, and the potential is definitely there for bigger ones coming. So when we check the buoys off, very close to where the earthquake came, you do have this one is in an active mode. It was triggered, this particular buoy station, which, does show you. Now, there was a tsunami warning, which was canceled. So that's good. But you also have one over here, too, which is right off the coast of Venezuela, in between Venezuela and like Puerto Rico. And so, this was also triggered, which was curious. When I looked at the heliplots, you could see there was some that showed, but not as much as I would have thought. For something this size, it's curious that there wasn't more activity on the heliplots. These are measuring ground movement all around the world. So, it was kind of curious that it didn't trigger as much movement, which kind of makes me a little suspicious as to what the origins of this are. This is Chile there. That's a mess. But, there's not a lot of shaking worldwide for a 7.4. So Yeah, that's definitely curious to me. Oh, here you have two kayakers paddling in the Irish Sea off County Waterford, left stunned after gliding over a massive bloom of jellyfish. I don't know if you can make it out.
See the actual flat piece of water over there?
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. You wouldn't want to tip over.
I think you do more than panic.
What do you make of this? It's all jellyfish.
Like,
Frequency?
they're all the way over there. You can see
There's
the
some
actual
kind of frequency.
flat piece of water over there.
Yeah, there's been a lot of strange things, especially with animals. Do you remember the 8.8? Because we did have that 8.8 like a year ago in August, if I'm remembering correctly, in Kamchatka, which is the peninsula of Russia, right there on the Pacific. This gentleman up here on this cliff is literally watching the tsunami waves come in. Massive, very, very scary. Look at that, the waves coming in. Now, this wasn't 8.8. Again, there have been bigger. There have been, great quakes of 9.0 or bigger. Look at it. It's almost up to the dog.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Yeah, again, just understand where you are and listen to your instincts. It's very, very important. I think, again, we need to be as clean and sober as we could be in these times. Keep your frequency high. You can create your own bubble of protection around you just by keeping your frequency high.
That's so important. It's everything, really. Our perception is everything, and we can't allow that to sink or send us into a spiral. Not at a time when you need to be grounded. Just do what you can to be grounded. If you can't get grounded, get distracted. That's what I do. That's one of my tricks. I figure it out, but this life is not meant to be easy. And just because you live a spiritual life doesn't mean that everything's going to go smooth. It just means that you have more ways of understanding how to deal with any given situation, which is very nice. You have more of a relationship with the entire 3D around you, and life is one big relationship with everything, because everything has some form of consciousness, and the earth is definitely doing what she does.
And meanwhile, look at New York City. Where'd it go? Can you see it? Where did it go? Holy cow. My gosh. Breathing in this air from the wildfires in Canada all the way over in New York City. Look at that. I mean, I know we've been hearing from all you guys everywhere from Pennsylvania to New York and New Jersey and over into Michigan and Wisconsin, Ohio, all over, that it's just atrocious and it's hard to breathe. And I know Robbie over close to Cape Cod was saying how bad it was too. It's just a horrible situation. It's not healthy. So they're telling you to put on the masks, but your body wants to get rid of the carbon dioxide. If you keep taking the carbon dioxide in, you're basically toxifying your blood. So, there's a no-win situation right now when it comes to the air quality in many areas.
Yeah, I think there's gosh, I've been telling people to get your air purifiers going. I think that's really all you can do. And I was watching the news this morning, and they're waving around their masks, saying, get a mask on, get a mask on, get a mask on. And I really think you just need to be close to an air purifier, because the masks, they have their own toxins. I guess it depends on the situation. And do you really feel better if you're wearing a mask? But I don't know about, extra toxins inside of toxins. And when the mainstream comes up with something that will help you, I always kind of pause and just double check, and is that really help?
We were talking also on the first video today about some prophecies and some visions and some channeled messages other people were getting. There was two channels that I brought up that are both seeing the same thing, and they end up doing a live show together I think because, they were both coming to the same conclusion, and it was reaffirming things for me too. Again, with these earthquakes and volcanic activity, people have seen that there could be a situation where toxic gases are emitted through volcanic activity. Volcanic ash is seriously a problem, and a lot of the gases that emitted could be completely deadly. So again, like Cindy was saying, air purification. I had bought a whole bunch of greenhouse plastic, which we still have some. If we ever did have a situation where you're going to hole yourself up in a room or a section of the house and seal it off, have things like duct tape and some plastic just in case. Because, there's so many different possibilities right now in this time. Not to be fearful, but it is good to be prepared, because there's nothing worse than something happens and you're totally unprepared.
Well, you'd definitely rather be in the situation where you have some materials. You don't have to stress over like what kind or how many, things like that. You'd just rather, don't bring a knife to a gunfight, pretty much, and just know where you stand and know your resources, things like that. Like I said, I don't like to obsess on these things. It's just know where you stand.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. HEPA filters, air purifiers, absolute must in these times. Dry foods that could last, water purification, time and time again, have redundancy. This person is sharing some info from some sampling of the air with everybody.
I'm sure we've all noticed the air quality issue the last couple days here in Michigan and probably many surrounding areas too. But I just want to let you know, I have done some testing on the air. I do my little jar test. I put my jar outside. So we had it outside for most of the day yesterday, overnight last night, wanting to know what's in the air. So here are the things that I'm finding. Hydrocarbons and sulfites, which is pretty common when we're burning something. So that's pretty standard. Other things that I'm finding: lead, acetone, graphene oxide. So those are all other toxins that I'm finding in the air right now with the haze and the smoke that are filling our skies. So where all those are coming from, not sure, but you have to remember, not only is there potential wood burning, but we're also potentially burning some kind of structure. We're also dealing with some of the chemicals or toxins that they are spraying to help reduce the fire, like the flame retardants and all of that. So definitely more than just smoke out there. So make sure I'm sure we've all noticed the air quality.
Yeah, that's interesting. Graphene oxide too, the old black goo is making its rounds. And, this is actually somebody that was caught lighting fires. How do these wildfires start? Well, yeah, it's not all lightning strikes. It certainly is not all lightning strikes and not all natural, especially when people literally see somebody being paid, assuming that they're being paid, but, again, to start the chaos. It's a sad situation, but it is the reality. Just with the last wildfires last year, there were many people that were caught starting them. And then there was fires down in Argentina, Patagonia. They were started by people that were, again, coming from one particular Middle Eastern country, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean that's really unfortunate. I think that detoxing is really important. Detoxing is got to be, if you have to prioritize things, to be drinking plenty of water, take a gentle binder. I don't recommend hardcore binders because you can actually pull very important minerals out of your body. But, taking something like chlorella, it would be good. It would be a nice gentle binder. And then, drinking a lot of water. At the end of any detox, you probably, if you're able, you would want to do a heavier type of binder. But just for something like this, give the liver a little help. Milk thistle would be good. A lot of lemon water, if you could drink lemon water. But just realize, you're inhaling this stuff and it's just slowly but surely absorbing into your tissues. So we need to continually think of ways to get that out. You do not want to be bringing bad stuff in. So make sure the food that you're eating isn't adding to the load the toxic load on your body. Make sure everything, because that really matters. It really, truly, truly matters. When you're already being toxified, you just don't want to add to it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's a crazy world out there. And the flooding, this is over in Russia, 440 homes flooded in this one particular region. Again, it's all over the world that we're seeing the insane weather. How much of the weather is literally controllable and controlled and manipulated? I think a big part. I think there's a lot of people out there that understand that more and more, that the weather manipulation is enormous. It really hit me when I was reading the Bible as a teenager, that these things are all being manipulated by people portraying themselves as the creator, but it's not the creator. No, not at all. And here, this is talking about the U.S. and Israel with our tax money again, bombing 3 different countries: Palestine, Lebanon, Iran, and massive destruction. Again, it's creating negative karma that will backlash. And again, karma is very real. It's just simply the law of cause and effect. And this is from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps talking again about what's coming, because again, the war has intensified. There's a lot of strikes ongoing. It seems to be expanding. And they're warning every Israeli who wants to survive to leave Israel. We're heading towards a fierce war, and its end's going to be disastrous. They say they're fully prepared. Now, it's interesting, too, because Cindy does pick up that there's, and I agree, technology in play that we haven't seen yet. And I think it definitely could be related to weather warfare, or maybe some of it we've seen with the dial turned down, but I think they could turn the dial up more, a lot more. And, there's so many satellites circling us all the time, tens of thousands of them up there. How do we know what each one is doing? We really don't. Meanwhile, you had this banner unfurled showing the Trump family with draped caskets. So, again, this is in Iran, as it says, Iranians have intensified calls for 47's death and the family. Again, it goes back to a long time ago when those strikes took out that general, going way back. And then, of course, Iran is one of the countries that was listed way back in 2001, after 9/11 happened, when, again, you had a certain General Wesley Clark saying we're going to attack 7 countries. And we have, every single one of them. Back in 2001, he said it. 25 years later, it's completed now. I mean, the war is not completed. And this war, it might last another 5 or 6 years. Let's hope not. But look at Ukraine. Started in 2022. It's still ongoing 4 years later. We understand war is big business.
Yes, it just really helps them out financially.
It keeps the vibes lowered. It keeps people in fear. So again, what can we do? Well, let people understand that we're being played. We're being pitted against each other, because ultimately this, in my mind, when I see war, it's primarily for keeping the population at a certain level and also creating an environment that's fear-based, which creates loosh, which is energy and food for certain beings.
Yeah, it's multi-leveled.
It is. It does create profits for certain people that will go along with anything for money. And there are a lot of people like that, unfortunately. It's not the majority, though. Warder as Warfare University of Tehran professor on how the U.S. is targeting Iran's supplies could open a new catastrophic front. The regimes in the Persian Gulf that host U.S. bases and facilitate these attacks, they're much more vulnerable than Iran. Iran is not all desert. Iran is very mountainous. It would be almost impossible, literally, to take over the entirety of Iran with the terrain. And yet they do have sources of water. Whereas when you look at, some of the other smaller nations there, if they don't have desalination plants going, they have no water, and you cannot live there. Again, Saudi Arabia, for instance, Bahrain, UAE, Abu Dhabi, and it just goes on and on. It's amazing that people are living there, but yeah, Iran's a different situation. They could last a lot longer, especially because they have China and Russia backing them up. So this is just simply really a proxy war when you get down to it. The U.S. against China / Russia, but it's more U.S. on China. I would not be surprised if some point in the future Russia is not if he's even confrontational with China at some point. Yeah, it's a tangled web that is woven. But yeah, as this says, some of these countries won't exist. No, because the desalination plants, if they're hit, then there's quite a few countries on the Arabian Peninsula that will not be able to survive. They'll have to move everybody out of there. They won't be able to survive. So, again, it's a humanitarian issue. Now, he's speaking again in Hebrew. So most of us won't be able to understand it. We'll have to go on the translation. But he is, again, giving threats, but it's to Spain.
ספרד הכפישה את גיבורינו, את חיילי צה"ל, חיילי הצבא המוסרי ביותר בעולם. ולכן הנחיתי היום לסלק את נציגי ספרד ממרכז התיאום בקריית גת, לאחר שספרד בחרה שוב ושוב להתייצב נגד ישראל. מי שתוקף את מדינת ישראל במקום את משטרי הטרור, מי שעושה זאת לא יהיה שותף שלנו לגבי עתיד האזור. אני לא מוכן לסבול את הצביעות הזאת ואת העוינות הזאת. אני לא מתכוון לאפשר לאף מדינה לנהל נגדנו מלחמה מדינית בלי לשלם על כך מחיר מיד. ישראל לא תשתוק מול מי שתוקף אותנו. ספרד הכפישה את גיבורנו.
So, some people have understood what this could be also. It could be some hidden technology. Right here. They might experience certain power outages. Train accidents could happen. Earthquakes could happen. Floods could happen. Tornadoes. It's really hit me as interesting because Christoph Jakowski, who I've talked about so many times, and I'll bring his channel up for you guys to see. What's fascinating is he sees Spain with very few people there. And there's something that happens within 5 years' time. Again, you have to translate this yourself if you're going to watch it on this channel. There's another channel that doesn't have all his work. It has little pieces called Clear Seeing, where a small part of it is translated to English for you. But simply you can just do this yourself with the settings, putting on the closed captions, and going ahead and translating it to English. But he sees a massive loss of people in Spain. Very, very few people living in Spain. He doesn't know why. He hasn't gotten that vision, but he's had that vision many times. And by the way, he's been saying the whole time that they've just held the war off for the World Cup and that it's going to escalate greatly after that. So is this a threat describing what's going to happen in Spain that might look like an act of nature, but literally be technology?
Yeah, would they do that?
I think they would, Rabbit. Yes, they would. Absolutely. Oh my God. Make of this what you will. Yeah. I'm debating, do I play this or not? I mean, I don't know. Fart specialist Dr. Douglas Wynn shows ways to clean lettuce to help prevent you from getting that explosive diarrhea outbreak. Yes, make sure you scrub really hard and get rid of the bacteria that's on the crevices. Yeah, Okay, well, we definitely have an issue with, again, a stomach bug that's going around that they say it infected a lot of people just through Taco Bell and lettuce and pico de gallo and things like that. They're blaming it on produce that the bug is spreading on. But I got to think about, you were talking about air samples. How about water samples? What's being sprayed up in the air all day long, every day, being released from, again, all sorts of different airplanes, maybe even helicopters, by the use of our tax dollars.
I know. Yeah, we have to take it all into consideration. And would they ever want to sway people and make them think something that it's not? And I think we're stuck in a world where people believe that everything on the news is real and everything in the movies is fake. That just seems to be where we're at, So I don't know. We have to look at stuff and weigh it. I mean, could there be something else, possibly like a frequency change that might create this problem? Could it be coming just literally from the air? What else could cause these problems? I know that when it comes to frequency, there are frequency machines that will help with constipation. So it could very well be a frequency, because they can just really shift our bodies and have our bodies do something that's that otherwise it naturally wouldn't do. And they have all of these mixed, they have a concoction where if you take all of these things in your body, it can create problems. It can create blockages. It can create all kinds of issues with the human body. And it's just out there everywhere, from the food that we eat to things that we touch to our laundry soap to our dish soap. And then, alchemically, it can go into your body and do other things. Your body turns it into something not so good.
Oh, Martine, you gave me a laugh there. Death by exploding diarrhea was not on my 2026 bingo card. Yeah, no, exactly. You can see this map, which is a couple days old. But Michigan, look at that. I mean, it's dark up there. So that's an epicenter area. As you could see, Illinois, Indiana, big outbreaks there, North Carolina, Virginia, all over, not so far that much over in the West for you guys there. But yeah, even in our area, there's definitely some cases out there. And then also, we told about this. You had the data centers. There was a metadata center that was tied again to the outbreak, or not perhaps this outbreak, but yes, absolutely, it released contaminated water out to the public. So, again, it's not a good situation, as people are, again, fighting back strong against the data centers, which is a good thing to see, because these things, I think we all agree, probably everybody here agrees totally, that these things are an atrocity. You can see what they do. I mean, I was taking a bike ride last night going through, I mean, it's just beautiful forest, dense woods. It's gorgeous. It's wonderful. And yet they put a big data center just like a little bit over an hour away from us. And it's just horrible. And they wanted to put another one within an hour of us, but it got stopped. Thankfully. I mean, these things, they're an atrocity. They do affect people. They affect livestock. The frequencies are toxic. How many of you guys are having problems sleeping? I wonder if that's more common, getting more common these days. It feels like there are certain, again, frequencies maybe coming off routers. Does everybody here turn off their router before going to bed? And if you are in, say, an apartment building, I know you can't go and ask all the neighbors, please turn off your router when you go to sleep. But seriously, again, there's frequency warfare going on.
All over the place. Frequency warfare is, and it could very well get a little worse with as many data centers that are going up, because it is going to affect our water. Luckily, in many ways, water is programmable. So if they program it, with a data center and release it. Luckily, at some point, it can be reprogrammed for good. But I would think that the immediate effect, if they release the water and when they release the water, cannot be good.
No, absolutely. And multiple towns in Connecticut, my old home state, are permanently removing flock cameras from their neighborhoods. Massive backlash over privacy concerns. I think the data centers and the flock cameras, you're seeing people finally speaking up enough to actually make a difference. A Freedom of Information Act request revealed that in just one town, third parties access camera data more than 500,000 times in 9 weeks. They're watching everything you do. I mean, it's everything, You pick your nose at the light, they're going to know.
They're going to know. And I think, if you can get involved at those lower levels, that's going to be important. If you have the time, to me, that's something that would be beneficial if you have the time and the knowledge and the ability just to even track the information, or, even if they know that somebody is watching, you might alter decisions. You just don't know.
Yeah, and this was a wild boar attack that attacked 4 people in a city, Toyota, Japan. People thought it was a dog, but then they looked, and it was a wild boar. On the morning of the 13th, a wild boar suddenly appeared in the city and attacked 4 men, one after the other. Experts are surprised. It's rare for a wild boar to attack people. Well, you got to be careful in the South because there are wild boar out there. Again, the city, though, that's something totally different. 5:30 a.m., this thing is attacking people. There is something really weird frequency-wise that's triggering animals and other natural creatures to attack humans. It's really weird.
And I do think there's some other things going on, too, in the ether when it comes to the insects. I think there's more communication going on right now. I think we are coming into a new realm, and we are being recalibrated to a degree with all these new energies. So times are very different.
Yeah, and this is very different. What is this? Is this AI? Come on, guys. Or literally, will the world wake up and realize it's just been a big Truman Show the whole time? And we've been watched the whole way by both maybe bad guys and good guys, so to speak. Maybe some of our best friends and family members on the higher densities have been watching us the whole time. Or even while the dark ones in lower fourth have been doing their thing with us. What do you make of this, guys? Just a little AI piece of trash, but even if it is, as you see the person walk by, I do think it speaks to our reality. Oh, that's a very long neck being up there, isn't it? Because, I do think, I know that there are beings just outside of the visible spectrum that watch us and do engage with us all the time. That part is absolutely real.
Yes, but they are not going to interrupt your human experience. And if they do, that's not good.
Yeah, no, yeah. And some do. Some do. Obviously not the good ones. Are you ready for a little road trip? Man, that's a nice bike that little dude has there. He is ready.
That's super cute.
Isn't it adorable? Like father, like pup. Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. As always, we give you thanks. Thanks for your support over on Ko-Fi and Patreon, and also with memberships on YT, or in, again, merchandise, evolutionaryenergyarts.com. When you click the merch, you can see what's available. We'll be adding to that as we go. Make sure you are subscribed to all 3 channels on YT. And again, everything goes up on Patreon as well.
Mm-hmm. And, and I was thinking about it today about the patches, because we utilize the life wave, patches, and they have been so, so helpful for us in our daily lives. And it's especially helpful. This is the reports that I've heard, that people who you might be going into surgery, you might be coming out of surgery, they are helpful for your pets. They work across species. They are completely safe. Nothing is going into your body. They are not transdermal, and they've just been amazing for us. So, they use that patented light infused technology, and it awakens those sleeping stem cells. So, just something I've learned so much from using these patches, and I've been on them for, I don't know, 4 months or so, 5 months, about 4 months.
I think we're probably getting close to
Maybe
5-6
maybe 5-6 months. And I tell you what, I'm a different person now than I was then, and this person now even recommends them more. So even, if you have sick children, they're getting over something, you can put one on a sick child, and it will help them heal faster. But the rate at which they help heal has been phenomenal. And we know our very own Karma Doc, she puts them on her knee. She has a bad knee. She's in a lot of pain. She puts them on her knee. It really helps her. She knows on the days that she forgets, she feels it again, but it is slowly over time, it is healing the actual problem. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, and again, when you go on like any of the videos, as this one was what we were doing this morning, and the first link that pops up right there, that's LifeWave. So you can see it. If you click on that, that's going to take you right to here. They have tons of products. I use the X39, the X49, and Carnosine as those three particular. X39 is a must because it triggers your stem cells. And I actually kind of feel that these products literally pull nanu. That's just my own hunch. They don't talk about removing it, but it feels like they do. That's what I sense with them. So again, we are affiliated with them.
And people use them on their horses, have saved thousands in vet bills. So, well, thank you so much, Miss Terry. We do appreciate that. That helps keep the channel going to a very high degree. So I do have a little bit of bad news. Miss Mary, we were praying for her. Miss Mary has chosen to leave this realm. So she's going to be helping us from the other side. That is my thoughts. She had a big heart. She gave it a really good fight. She did her best, and ultimately she chose to leave us. It was really sad because in many ways, I just, my own personal thoughts, I feel it didn't have to be this way, but this is what we have. So, thank you for all those prayers. We do appreciate it. Got some good news about Miss Lori. If you've heard me talk about Lori and Steve, Lori is making teeny tiny bits of progress. So prayer warriors, thank you so much for all of these prayers. It matters. It makes a difference. And, I want to tell you guys just, thank you. And we're really excited about Miss Lori, and we're hoping that maybe eventually, not too far from now, she can hopefully go home.
And pray for Carrie.
And we are still sending prayers for Carrie. So definitely want to give him your love and energy and time. He is having a difficult time, and he's one of our family members. So we'll get that energy out there to him. And for everyone who's been affected by the earthquakes and the fires, I hope that things start clearing up for you guys. So let's, set our intentions, and we're going to do some dings. You guys are amazing. Source bless and namaste.
Loka samasta sukhi no bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free, and may our own words, thoughts, acts, and deeds contribute to the freedom and happiness of all. Thank you guys so much. Namaste.